So for evolution to occur, you're going to have to show environmental factors changing and show that additional information becomes available to be selected. If the random mutation can't produce the information necessary to make the organism viable in the new environment, then it becomes extinct. And that happened a lot.
You're assuming that there's not already enough genetic variation in the species to begin with.
That's not evolution, that's just variation of a kind.
That is the raw material that evolution acts upon.
How long are we going to have to breed dogs before we get something that's not a dog? We got lots of dogs.
How long do
You
we
can
breed
try-
fruit flies so we can get one that we can feed our fish?
Pardon me?
3,000 generations.
Cats, you can breed them all day long. Maine Coon cats, the biggest cat, pretty stout. There's a cat in the Orient, survives in Singapore cat in Singapore survives in pipes because it can crawl into the pipe and nothing can get to it. So it survives by hiding and crawling into little drain pipes that nothing else is going to kill it. But they're still cats. You got small cats, you got big cats, not nearly the variation you have in dogs. Some organisms just have a greater variety in the gene pool to select from,
Well, we put a lot
more
of
adaptable.
effort into enhancing that variability in dogs.
Well, sure. Like I say, selection, as far as the theory of evolution goes, evolutionists say the selection was done by the environment, nothing intentional, no ultimate goal. It was just the environment. The idea that Darwin developed was from watching breeders of pigeons in England, and he saw the human hand making the selection as opposed to the environment making the selection. The principle's the same. The thing to remember about evolution is there's no ultimate goal, nobody's in control, it's just environmental factors.
Sure.
But my point is that that variability only goes so far and then it stops.
How does this relate to Christianity?
It's your a priori assumptions. What are you starting with? You see, if you don't take the Bible seriously, then you can say, well, yeah, there was a starting point, and then work backwards and try and figure out how that happened. And you're going to have to make some assumptions as to what's going on. Uniformitarianism is one of the assumptions.
Well, it's no longer, you hear about punctuated evolution.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get into Gould, but
I think there's the fact that there are sudden, abrupt changes locally or regionally or planetary. Those things are hard to argue with. And
changes in the animals.
When, for example,
The end of the Cretaceous period.
yeah, suddenly you had this very large area, not well occupied by surviving creatures, and there was a period of almost explosive, on a geological sense, geological scene, almost explosive evolution of new, you might say, experimental forms,
Right.
filling this.
Are you aware of your presuppositions in order to make the statement?
I'm sorry.
Are you aware of the presuppositions necessary to make the statement you just made?
No, I'm not
Okay,
sure what
let's
you're
look
talking
at 'em.
about.